Welcome back to the 98th episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy. You ready? Put him up. Put him up. Them's fighting words, Drew.
You remind me of the Cowardly Lion.
I need to, yeah,
Put him up, put
I
him up.
need to trim this a little bit. Yes, I know. My mane is getting a little out of control here.
So this is Batman season 3, episode 2, Ring Around the Riddler. Episode aired September 21st, 1967, directed by Sam Stranges and written by Charles Hoffman.
Now, Charles Hoffman is a name that we know. He wrote 22 episodes over the course of the 3 seasons, so we've seen his name on here before. This is his first and only time writing the Riddler. So it's a new experience for him. And it's directed by, as you mentioned, Sam Stranges, who he's been part of the show for the entire run. As a matter of fact, for the series and the movie, he was the unit production manager for the whole series. Now, he served as assistant director for, in the first season, two Riddler episodes, High Diddle Riddle and Smack in the Middle. So he was the assistant director there. But this is the only other time he directed an episode of the series. He didn't direct many other times on other shows or whatnot, but he was a producer. As a matter of fact, he was a producer of season 1, 1974, of $6 Million Man. He was an executive producer, I believe, of the series War of the Worlds from the late 80s. And then actually, he was actually an executive director for CSI and CSI Miami in the 2000s. Um, so he had quite a lot of credits and behind the scenes mostly. But he didn't direct much. He more was a production manager or producer. So this is a rare instance. But to be honest with you, I thought the direction of this episode was really well, and we'll talk about it in more detail. But again, we've got the single story a single story in a single episode, and man, things move fast in this episode. Like a lot happens here, and it's a lot of juggling. So I give Sam credit because there's a lot of characters to juggle around, and it moves really fast.
That it does. Night, the cloak for sinners, where the Riddler hides out in a little used gymnasium. Riddler asks boxer Kid Glover to throw the biggest fight of his career tonight, but
Gulliver.
Kid Gulliver refuses.
So, all right. So let's put a pin right here. First of all, obviously the budget is scaled back because there's no background. It's just all black. Like all these, like a lot of, so many of these scenes now are just done with black backgrounds, which, sort of suits the art direction of the show, but you can really tell that, they're scaling back on scenery and whatnot. Um, and Kid Gulliver should seem like a familiar face to you because is our friend James Brolin. This is his third appearance on the show. He previously was Reggie in The Catman Goeth, and he was an armored car driver in Cat in the Fiddle. So he was in a couple of Catwoman episodes. This is the first time he's in a Riddler episode as well, but this will be the third and last time we see James Brolin in one of these. And it's what we're all excited for because not only is it a Riddler story, but it's Frank Gorshin. And I mean, right from the get-go, it's almost like I got chills, Drew. Like just seeing him and hearing him. This is his first appearance as the Riddler since the Batman movie. Because remember, they did that after they did season 1.
Right.
So a little over a year before, he, of course, sat out the show's entire second season, contract disputes, whatever, schedule conflicts, however you want to believe that or not. But yeah, this is a big deal to have him back. Sadly, it's his only appearance this season. So this will be his last appearance on the show as well. So enjoy it while it lasts. But man, it is great to have him back.
The Riddler has a riddle for Kid Gulliver. What do boats, shovels, laundries, whistles, and hot showers have in common? The answer? Steam. Riddler orders his henchmen to toss Kid Gulliver into the steam room and shrink him down to size.
So let's take time out to go over his henchmen. We have two in particular. There's more, but the two that are credited are KO and Cauliflower, which are both have to do with boxing, right? KO is obvious and knockout, as well as cauliflower, which is cauliflower ears. Many boxers have them. So KO is played by Nicholas, I believe it's Georgiade, who was around from 1933 to 1921. In 1952, he won the European heavyweight title for the U.S. Army. So he is no stranger to boxing. He has 45 acting credits, and he was most notably his most notable role prior to this was he played Agent Enrico Rossi in 113 episodes of The Untouchables from 1959 to 1963. So he was a regular there, but he also appeared in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, 1963. He's in a couple of episodes of Get Smart. He was in an episode of Hawaii Five-O, and he was in four Andy Sedaris movies in the late 80s, 90s, early 90s. The movies were Stacy, Seven, Picasso Trigger, and Fit to Kill. The Andy Sedaris movies are campy in a way that they're pretty much not safe for work. Let's put it that way. But yeah, let's just say that Andy Sedaris had his own style of making movies. And then we also have Cauliflower. Cauliflower was played by Gil Perkins, who was around from 1907 to 1999. He has 155 stunt credits and 221 acting credits. So he started off as an actor, but he soon drifted into stunt work in his career. He was doubling cowboy star William Boyd and putting a red toupee over his own hair to double Red Skelton among some of his movies. And some of his most notable stunt jobs were in sci-fi horror, early sci-fi horror. King Kong, 1933. He stood in for Bruce Cabot. In Jekyll and Hyde in 1941, he stood in for Spencer Tracy. And he replaced Bela Lugosi as the monster in the climactic battle sequence of Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman in 1943. He appeared in the serial adventures of Captain America from 1944, Son of Zorro, 1947. He also appeared on The Untouchables in three episodes in the 60s, so he is probably familiar with his henchmate, Nicholas Georgiade. He also appeared in Batman Season 1. So if he seems familiar to you, he was a henchman in The Joker is Wild, and he played the character of Dicer in The 13th Hat and Batman Stands Pat. So he was also in Batman the movie. He played a character named Bluebeard, which I believe was a henchman as well. And he will be again in another episode of Batman this season, probably playing another henchman. He also played a slave in the Star Trek episode 1967, Bread and Circuses, and he was also featured in the movie Walking Tall from 1972, and even in Raging Bull from 1980. So he had quite the career of doing acting and stunt behind the scenes work. So it's good to see him again. So yeah, so the Riddler is surrounded by familiar faces here. Frank is surrounded by people who have been on the show before and that he's probably worked with before as well.
The Riddler reveals to Betsy Boldface that he plans to get rid of every other top prize fighter in town, including that contemptible crime fighter, Batman. Riddler plans to control all the prize fighting in Gotham City once and for all, and everywhere else.
It it's fun that this show is tackling boxing because boxing was a big sport I mean, it still is, but I mean, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, even into the 60s, it was huge. The heavyweight champions and various champions were very much popular and known to everybody within that's within America, certainly. And but also it had a reputation for being kind of underhanded, some underhanded things going on, and a lot of movies depicted, a lot of mafia and underground attachments to that sport in particular. So it's interesting that it's happening with this, and I think it was only a matter of time before they tackled something like this. So that's pretty cool that it's a Riddler one. Um, Also, I'll mention that Betsy Boldface is played by Peggy Ann Gardner, who was around from 1932 to 1984. She had 72 acting credits, starting with very early on. In 1945, she was in a movie called The Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and for her role in that movie, she received a special juvenile Oscar award. And she was also in an episode of After Presents, Outer Limits, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Also notable that she was also featured in the movie Black Widow from 1954, which we've mentioned many times. There's a lot of Batman alumni on in that movie. So Black Widow from 1954, and yeah, she's not your typical Maul. She actually has a job, a career. She also seems a little older than most of the Mauls that we see on the show. But she has a purpose, and she's definitely with him. That's for sure. She is on his side all the way, and part of the scheme. So it's she has some agency here, which I like a lot too.
Riddler asks Betsy, when is the top of the mountain like a savings account? Betsy asks the Riddler to go on, and the Riddler answers, when it piques one's interest.
It's
At
just so fun listening to him tell these jokes that just rattle him off. Like he is like, I mean, he's got that energy. He looks a little different. He looks a little bit more blonde in this than he has in the past, I think. If I don't know if you noticed that as well. And it's interesting because I know that he switched back and forth from wearing the suit to the skin tight leotards.
Yeah, I
And I
noticed that.
my understanding is that he hated wearing the leotards, but he wears them a lot in this. So he came back to do this role. He was all in and put on those leotards, and he looks like he's in great shape. We'll see later on how athletic he might be or not. But he cuts a good figure in that outfit for sure.
At Wayne Manor, Bruce, Dick, and Alfred are watching the fight in Bruce's study. Apparently, they bought a TV and put it in there because we've never seen a TV in there before.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just a way to shortcut all everything that happens because the next few things that happen like we go through a lot where it would have taken like 15, 20 minutes in the episode prior. Not that long really, but I mean, it's a really edited montage of scenes that are just like, let's get this thing moving.
Alfred comments on Kid Gulliver going down for the count in the third round. Dick comments that it is hard to believe. As chairman of the Gotham City Boxing Commission, Bruce is going to call an emergency meeting. It looks like undesirable elements have once again infiltrated the manly art of self-defense.
Yeah, he's like I said, it's not it's a sport that has a reputation for a lot of hijinks going on behind the scenes, and they sort of acknowledge that here, that even in Gotham, this is not the first time such a thing might have happened.
Elsewhere, Riddler is making off with the box receipts. Riddler flips some switches on this on his, the Riddler flips some switches on his mysterious box and some lights turn on. Riddle me this. When does a painter use a trigger instead of a brush? The Riddler grabs the cashier by her ponytail and yanks, revealing the answer to his riddle when he's a stick up artist.
I don't I don't recall, and he must have said it. but I don't recall the Riddler saying "riddle me this" before. The first time I can remember somebody saying "riddle me this" was John Aston as the Riddler. Now I'm probably very wrong on that, but I looked to see if that was true or not, and I couldn't find any evidence either way. So, but it just feels like he hasn't said it yet. And then when he says it here, it's like, oh, it's perfect. But it just seemed, or maybe just we hadn't heard it in so long that I it felt new to me. But I don't know. Do you?
I don't remember, honestly.
Gotcha.
This is we're going back all the way to season one. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Has it been,
Well,
it's probably been over a year since we were in season one.
I mean, probably. Yeah, that second season was long.
It was. The Riddler takes off, leaving the cashier staring at the mysterious box he has left there. She's mesmerized by it.
Yeah, she's just
And
frozen.
and then Frank just yanking her head back like that. I
Yeah,
was like, dang,
that seemed unnecessary.
it did, but it was effective. Barbara Gordon steps up to the ticket booth asking for two seats. When the cashier screams that the box is blinking, she screams, "Help! Police! Help!" A few minutes later, Batgirl comes running into the box office to find the cashier still staring at Riddler's mysterious box.
We get William Dozer. He's like narrating every time like Batgirl does something. She got her own narrator. I mean, it's the same narrator. It's not like a different one, but I mean, it seems like every time she does something or goes to change or whatever, we have to have William Dozer explain what's happening here.
Batgirl quickly calls Commissioner Gordon, who in turn calls Batman. Alfred answers the phone, letting Commissioner Gordon know that Batman is not there. Chief O'Hara then puts up the bat signal.
So you say all that, but we all that's done in the span of like 30 seconds and silently as well.
Yeah,
We see Batgirl sort of do her thing, and the next thing we know, Commissioner Gordon is hanging up the phone, meaning he already talked to her, and then he picks up the bat phone, and then Alfred answers the bat phone and just shakes his head no, and then we cut to them featuring lighting up the bat signal, which first time we've seen that this season, and it's been a while since we've seen that.
yeah.
So it's pretty badass. I love it when they turn on the bat signal, and we get to see it in the sky too. So that's pretty cool. But I don't think the dynamic duo sees it.
Later, Batman is examining Riddler's box with a stethoscope. He asks Batgirl if she caught a glimpse of the robbers, but all she heard was the cashier scream, and then she called Commissioner Gordon's office and brought the box directly there.
If it's a bomb, I don't know if that's the smartest move. Here, Daddy. Boom. But Batgirl is not above using bat logic. We'll find out.
Just as Batman suspected, the blinking device was merely added to pique their curiosity. In the box, Batman finds some metal filings and a note. The note reads, "Who rules the ring? No prince, king, or Raja. Look for a clue on the walls of the Kafaja." Hope I pronounced that right.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Commissioner Gordon comments that the Riddler has returned to tease, taunt, and torment them again.
I love that.
Bat-
I love Commissioner Gordon's use of alliteration. He's so cool.
Batman explains that Kafaja was a famous temple in what was the land of Mesopotamia. Mes- Mesopotamia.
Mesopotamia.
Commissioner Gordon states that his daughter, Barbara, studied the history of Southwestern Asia in college. Perhaps if they called her. Commissioner Gordon stops in mid sentence, wondering what happened to Batgirl. "But Gora, she's gone," Chief O'Hara scans the room. "Into thin air," Robin adds. Batman agrees that it is her particular brand of vanishing cream, another weapon in her arsenal.
I love Batman's phrase on that, and I'm more convinced than ever that Denny O'Neil and DC Comics got the idea of Batman vanishing suddenly from this series with Batgirl because when doing my research, it looks like it didn't happen before that. And it's so effective, and it just strikes me as an odd coincidence if that was the case that they just thought it would be cool if Batman did that. But I mean, Batgirl was doing it at least on TV long before the Cape Crusader was.
Yes, and it's iconic for Batman now in the comics. So,
Absolutely. But I mean, as we see, this is the second episode, obviously, so we won't know for sure. But as we've seen, two for two, and she's already done it multiple times.
yeah.
Like,
And I
so,
think one of the main reasons she's doing it is she doesn't want Batman and Robin to figure out her secret identity.
nor does she
Or
want Commissioner Gordon to find out. So she
yeah.
doesn't want, so she has got something really big to hide from those three individuals. Plus, as soon as Commissioner Gordon said, hey, my daughter, like, she's like, oh, I better go. Like,
Suddenly the phone rings. Commissioner Gordon answers it to learn that Kid Gulliver has vanished, disappeared completely while he was being carried down to his dressing room. At Riddler's hideout, the Riddler informs his henchmen that the shot he gave Kid Gulliver won't wear off for a week. A little riddle juice.
Riddler juice. Yeah. He's got Riddler juice, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And I don't, there's some things that the Riddler uses here that doesn't, that, that I could use some more explanation on, but obviously they're moving so fast. So I don't know if stuff got cut. But there's things like the fact that Kid Gulliver just suddenly disappears. The fact that he's using Riddler juice to, blank people's, like his victims into their, to lack of their memory, to lose their memory, is just odd. And then he pulls out another weapon a little bit later, which seems to be like enough, but he's got all these other things. So it's so weird that he's doing this stuff, but it's still fun. I don't ever want to have Riddler juice though.
Riddler asks his henchmen if they had their choice of laps to sit on right now, which would they choose? The Riddler's henchmen look at him confused, and the Riddler answers Kid Gulliver's temporary lapse of memory. Take him away.
He's so good here. The way he's just sitting on the chair and oh man, it's great to have him back. It's so great to have him back. I mean, no offense that, we mentioned John Astin did what he could, but he's just not the Riddler. And Frank established the Riddler is this manic. I think he's the most violent of any of Batman's villains. And I think, to your point, the fact that he pulled that girl's hair, that ponytail or whatever, just like there's a menace to him and a violence to him that is not included. Like the other villains, as good as they are, as great as they are, just don't have it. And I've missed that.
Yes, and he's got to be the most animated out of all of them, too.
I believe so. You would think it would be the Riddler, I mean the Joker, and Cesar Romero, we've talked about how great he is, and we'll continue to talk about how great he is because we're not done with him. But man, the Riddler just is so manic, and his laugh is almost like it just cuts through you like a knife. Like Cesar Romero's Joker laugh is pretty outstanding and memorable, but the Riddler's is icy cold, like, and it just gives you chills, I think.
I've always wondered what it would be like if they casted Frank as the Joker.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, would he play it the same way? Maybe, who knows? But look, I think he's perfect as the Riddler. So I'm not looking to him. I'm not making, any sort of substitution as far as who should play the Riddler and who should play the Joker. Because both of them, I think we know, have stood on their own merits and have made an impact, uh, separately, you know? So they've done a great job, but man, it's just amazing. I mean, and that's what, and sadly enough, that's what John Aston had to compete with, and there's just no comparison.
No, there's not. Betsy Boldface descends the stairs, offering Riddler her produces as well as her latest news break. Mutsi Nebuchadnezzar, unchallenged champion of Southwestern Asia's boxing world, arrived in New arrived arrived in New York, arrived in Gotham City tonight, ready and willing to take on any and all comers. Riddler responds that it is a stroke of her usual feminine genius. Betsy tells Riddler to slip into his burnous because Mushy Nebuchadnezzar is going to appear on her midnight sports telecast. Elsewhere, Batman and Robin ascend the bat rope to Barbara Gordon's apartment and knock on her balcony door. They would have entered the building by a more conventional they would have entered the building by a more conventional means, but they didn't want to startle the tenants.
Instead, we'll give Barbara a heart attack. Uh, so we do see Batman and Robin scaling the building like we usually do. However, there's no time for a cameo.
No, there's not.
Yeah, the show's got to move. And apparently no one famous lives in Barbara Gordon's building, so no need for cameo.
Barbara states that she was expecting them because her father had called. As Barbara recalls, the famous temple of Kafaja had some strange scroll work found on the walls, indicating that men use fists to fight, long before the supposed beginnings of boxing in ancient Roman Greece. Holy hieroglyphics! Robin wonders how the Riddler would know that. Batman answers that the mind of a criminal like the Riddler's is a sponge which soaks up many strange facts.
And we've seen from previous encounters that first season that the Riddler knows his stuff. Like he does research and he's particularly over historical events because he has sought riches to take advantage of things that he has learned about where past treasures are hidden or figures like that. So that is on brand with this particular Riddler because he has done that before, and I like the fact that it's used here too.
Batman decides to go over Riddler's riddle again. Who rules the ring? No prince, king, or Raja. Barbara wonders if Riddler could mean the prize fighting ring. Robin states they should have thought of that themselves. Until tonight, Kid Gulliver was the champ. Batman suggests that perhaps the Riddler himself is trying to take over. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. It's Commissioner Gordon. He was hoping that the Cape Crusaders were still there. Kid Gulliver has been found outside of Gotham Square Garden, but he remembers nothing. An injection of some drug has affected his memory.
Yeah, I think something's affected Gordon's memory too, or his brain, because when he comes in, he says, and I checked this twice, and if I'm mistaken, then maybe I need to like maybe I need to check my own hearing. But he actually says, "I was walking home, Bonnie," and I'm like, "That's not Bonnie, that's Barbara." But he says it here. We actually do also yeah, but we hear Bonnie a bit later on in the episode. Speaking of her, and I don't know. I think have we heard her before?
We've heard Bonnie before, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure.
I don't know if it's the same voice, but in any case, we'll get there when we get there, I guess.
I don't know if we've ever seen Bonnie.
We have not. We have not ever seen her.
Batman states talking to Kid Gulliver will do them no good. Robin suggests that they take a look at Gotham Square Garden. Maybe they will find a clue there. After Batman and Robin leave, Commissioner Gordon turns on the television. He wants to catch the latest, or no, he wants to catch the last of Betsy Boldface's midnight sports telecast. After watching the telecast for a few minutes, Commissioner Gordon turns off the set, stating that Mushy Nebuchadnezzar sounds like Southwestern Asia's unchallenged nut.
And
Meanwhile,
why is that, Drew?
oh, because he's the Riddler. which I'm getting ready to tell you right now. Meanwhile,
Because of some of the things that he drinks and eats, some of his habits, right?
what? You lost me. Sorry.
During the show, she asks him about his preparation for the fight, and he talks about things that he drinks and eats that are very strange, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. Meanwhile, back at the BatChums podcast studios, Drew and Mike realize that Mushy Nebuchadnezzar is really the Riddler in disguise. I almost forgot I put that in there.
mean, it's not a big surprise because I think they mentioned that when the Riddler was talking to Betsy Bullface about Nebuchadnezzar as a boxer or whatever. I mean, it was kind of confusing, but and again, you don't really have time to think about things here because it happens even on a second viewing. I was just like, man, this story is moving at a breakneck pace for this show. I thought the last one was, but this one is really cruising.
Yeah, I think I put that in there because Commissioner Gordon didn't recognize Riddler, but we did.
No, but I mean, that's a low bar, Drew.
In the box office of the Gotham Square Garden, Batman and Robin arrive to find Chief O'Hara wandering around in a daze.
Okay,
Batman's
so before that, right before that, in at the box office at the arena, we get an extreme close up on Stafford Red. I mean, it's closer. I'm like, guys, I mean, no offense to Stafford, but we don't need to be this close. Now, granted, this is before high def TVs came out, so that you would see him at like
maybe they're maybe they're trying to get the audience to cry out, "Mother McCree!"
I mean, it was close. It was like they cut to it. I was like, ah,
Mother McCree!
but yeah, it was a very, very, very striking direction there. I was like, whoa. All right. So, but nothing is as shocking as seeing him in the shower. So we've got that going. We still are okay. We're still ahead on this.
Batman states they saw his car parked outside. Commissioner Gordon said he might be looking around. Chief O'Hara answers, "What car? Who's Commissioner Gordon?" Riddle me this, dynamic dull heads. What have the following in common? Hemming, basting, purling, and tracking. The Riddler laughs and then disappears before the dynamic duo's eyes. I read that wrong. The Riddler laughs and then disappears before the dynamic duo's eyes, as if he were a ghost. Holy blackout! Batman states it's a new Batman states it's a unique trick of the Riddler. Now you see him, now you don't.
It's a trick that is not explained, that he's never had this superpower before. Um, in fact, this whole scene with O'Hara being, struck by the Riddler with a lack of memory makes no sense whatsoever. I don't. Yeah, this is. It's just one of those things that if they were going to cut stuff and move this thing along, they were going to cut stuff. They should have. Like this should have been cut. Like this doesn't seem like it. Like especially when I was watching it a second time, I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? And why is the Riddler suddenly like vanishing? Like he's like I've got a teleporter or something. Like it was confusing. And I don't know. So I don't know if there was a subplot that the Riddler had some sort of device that allowed him to disappear. We get the mention that that Kid Gulliver disappeared suddenly and then they couldn't find him. So there was something on the table, I think maybe in the original draft, that the Riddler had some sort of device that allowed him to do that, but it's discarded and the remnants make no sense of it still being in here. So I think they could have cleaned that up a little bit, but it's still, it would have saved us all from that close up of Stafford Rim.
Robin believes that Riddler has to be someplace in this building. Batman replies that unfortunately they don't have time to go after him. Chief O'Hara needs help quickly. Batman reveals that hemming, hurling, basting, and tracking are all words related to needlework. Robin asks if they gave Chief O'Hara the same injection they gave to Kid Gulliver. Batman will take Chief O'Hara down to headquarters in his squad car. Robin can follow in the Batmobile.
Yeah, Robin gets to drive the Bat. We don't get to see
And
it,
see it. I know that's the
but this is the
disappointing thing.
first mention that Robin is driving the Batmobile, which I think is cool. So I don't. I'll be curious to see if we ever see it, but but it's at least it's mentioned here, which is pretty cool.
At Barbara Gordon's apartment, Barbara tells her pet bird Charlie that all she could see under the burnous was mushy Nebuchadnezzar's chin, and it didn't look Southwest Asian to her. Plus, there was something about that Betsy Boldface.
So I find it cool that Barbara Gordon has a sidekick that is a bird as well.
I remember her talking to that bird quite often.
So I don't think it's a robin, but it is funny that she has her own bird related sidekick. Although it's more Barbara Gordon's than it is Batgirl's.
I think that bird was yellow, wasn't it? I-
It was probably a
That's
canary.
so. But I do remember her talking to that bird throughout the last season. So,
And of course, her association with a canary would continue on in the comics much, much later on when Barbara Gordon and Black Canary would become parts of.
birds of prey.
Exactly. So it is kind of cool that it's here, that that connection is here. I don't know if like later on that this served as inspiration, but I find it hard to believe that it's just a coincidence.
Barbara thinks that Batman and Robin are headed for more than just Gotham Square Garden. Maybe Batgirl should investigate the local source of tamarisk berries, bull eggs, licorice, and camel grass juice.
Camel grass juice. Is that the same as Riddler juice? I mean, right? I guess so. Maybe Riddler juice and camel grass juice, same thing. I guess we'll find out later. Um, yeah, uh, very cool. And then, then she goes in action.
Not Batgirl. Barbara dashes across her bedroom in a flash, presses the secret button under her vanity, where the wall rotates into the secret Batgirl nook, where Barbara Gordon makes her dazzling transformation into Batgirl and into action on her Batgirl cycle.
So we get another version, not another version, another instance, I should say, of the Batgirl theme in use here. And I just wanted to point out too that A, I like it. You know, it's done by Billy May, who's now doing the music for the series. And but in the end credits roll, I noticed that the Batgirl theme, it said music by Billy May, but then it also said lyrics by Willie Mack. And I was like, lyrics? I don't remember there being lyrics. And I don't know, were there lyrics in the presentation video that introduced her? I don't remember if there were. But if you go online and you listen to the song with lyrics, they are ridiculous. So, it's like it does like the sort of what Batman theme does in some ways because it goes Batgirl, 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 Batgirl. Pardon my singing. But then it says like, something like who are you and are you from outer space and are you are you a real girl that wants love or something like that? And it's just like, yeah, that's just crazy. Like the lyrics are not great.
I've
So
heard the I've heard the lyrics before. Now that you're saying them, I remember hearing them before.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I don't think we heard him in the last like that first episode, but maybe it was in the sort of video promotional video that they put together. But in any case, you can just if you put Batgirl theme into Google or YouTube or something like that, you'll be able to find it and hear it. And I give you no apologies for listening to it and not digging it. I do like the instrumental theme of it though. So it's pretty nice. It's got a nice like sort of like uh oomph to it. So I do care for. I do like it. I do like the music too. I mean, I miss the regular musician, but I think Billy May, sorry, does a pretty good job with a lot of the music cues that he does here on the show.
It's memorable because I remember it from when I was a kid. So,
Sure.
and they must have played the lyrics before because I once you started saying them, I remembered it. So, and I haven't heard it recently, so it's got to have been from when I was a kid. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
eh, so far, I'm remembering stuff from the season. I must have seen a lot of season three or remembered seeing season three stuff from when I was a kid. So we'll see as the season unfolds more. But
Yep.
um, back in Riddler's little used gymnasium, Riddler and his henchmen are counting stolen box office money when Betsy Boldface returns with bulbul bird's eggs, licorice, and camel grass juice. Betsy announces that Batgirl is on her trail. Batgirl appears stating she saw Riddler's phony broadcast masquerading as mushy Nebuchadnezzar. She wants to know Riddler's scheme. Riddle him once. What's most alluring when it's lowest or highest? When it's in the air or in a hole? When it's served you, yet you can't touch it? Answer: an enchanting ace. Riddler and his henchmen put on earmuffs. Riddler's orders Siren to let Batgirl have one of her most stunning notes.
So, that riddle is very disappointing. It makes no sense. Uh, and obviously big time here. We get the introduction of the Siren, played by Dame Joan Collins. I am not going to spend a lot of time talking about the character or the actress because she will be coming up pretty soon after this. So she'll get her own spotlight, but it is kind of, she just comes out of nowhere here. And yeah, she sort of brings the room to a halt. That's for sure.
Siren hits Batgirl with the note, but it doesn't work. Siren informs Riddler that she has never tried her note 2 octaves above high C on a woman before. Batgirl exclaims that she won't try it again either. Riddler orders his men to grab Batgirl, and they quickly overtake her. Riddler has her tossed into the steam room just like Kid Gulliver. Batgirl's wit Batgirls wilt just as quickly as other women.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll just move past that.
yeah. Riddler thought his broadcast would put the dynamic decimal points on Betsy's track, but Batgirl will work just as well, even if Siren's stunning note didn't work on her. Betsy points out that Siren's note didn't work on her either, and she didn't have earmuffs on. Siren explained that it has never failed to put men under her spell and at her command. A few minutes later, Siren puts 3 top prize fighters in the country under her spell. Riddler orders them to put Riddler orders them put in the steam room. He also tells them to check on Batgirl.
So the three boxers that are here are actually actual boxers. They make their cameo appearance here. The boxers are Jerry Quarry, Armando Ramos, and Paul Rojas, and they are, like I said, actual boxers, heavyweight boxers. I think most of them are heavyweights. But yeah, so they do make a little cameo here.
Next, Riddler has plans for Batman. Siren indicates she also has plans for Batman as well as Commissioner Gordon. Riddler thanks Siren from the bottom of his burnous.
So I think the Riddler was using a couple of things in the beginning of this episode to to affect victims' memories and to disappear and whatnot. That could have easily been explained if we knew or we found out that the Siren was behind some of that. I think, they could have like connected that stuff better because really it just seems like that would be a better connection uh, than just leaving that stuff sort of open as to what the heck was going on with all that. But it is nice to see Joan Collins here, and I mean, in that outfit, you can't complain. And the Siren as well. And yeah, I look forward to her next appearance where we would dive into more about the character and the actress.
Suddenly, Riddler's henchmen come running out of the steam room, exclaiming that Batgirl is gone. She must have went up a vent. Riddler falls to his knees and shouts, "No, no, no!"
He's so
Betsy
melodramatic. He's so good. Ah!
Betsy offers Riddler a shot of camel grass juice, but Riddler repeats no again.
Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Riddler asks what is looser than a thread, a fish and flying ribbons. Answer, a woman's tongue, possibly Batgirl's.
Yeah, so that comment and the earlier comment regarding Batgirl, we're finding that the Riddler is quite the sexist. So that doesn't seem to disturb uh, Betsy Bullface at all. So, which is kind of weird because she seems like a pretty confident woman in this workplace, especially since even earlier on, Commissioner Gordon mentions it. Like when he says he's going to catch he wants to catch the last part of her show. Um, like I think Barbara says something like, "Oh, Daddy, you have to what?" And he's like, she's as good as any man doing this, and he says that to her. I mean, as if it's a surprise. I mean, you shouldn't have to sort of explain that, like, "Hey, this woman can do it just as good as a man." But still, it shows that he is open to women being equals, which at the time was not a very pop. I mean, it wasn't widespread. Let's put it that way. It wasn't a widespread opinion. So the women's rights and stuff was still happening very fiercely in this time period, and unfortunately along with some of the other things about that makes this show because it's done in the 60s, the time period that it's in, a little bit insensitive to some of that stuff. When we look at it now, it just seems like eh.
Riddler states he is going to have to come up with some provocative riddles if he is going to coax Batman into the ring with mushy Nebuchadnezzar. The next morning, Batman and Robin reply to a summons on the red phone. At police headquarters, Commissioner Gordon explains to Barbara that even though he's already called Batman, he's needed someone he needed someone to talk to until he arrived. He
Yeah,
knows that will make Barbara late to the library, but with Chief O'Hara in a state of amnesia, Commissioner Gordon is lost.
yeah, we'll just let that go too.
Commissioner Gordon has had it with Riddler's riddles. What what do bells, curtains, twins, and hair have in common? Barbara states that's easy. A ring, a ring, bells ring out, curtains ring down, twins are perfect ringers, and hair often comes in ringlets. Commissioner Gordon exclaims, "Smart girl," and gives her a second riddle. Any aggressor should beware his successor. Barbara states that's not a very good rhyme, but it must have something to do with Nebuchadnezzar.
It does. So it looks like since if you'll pardon the pun, dynamics have changed a bit here on the show because we see Batman solve a couple of the riddles because Riddler throws out a ton in this short story, this short episode. I think he throws out more than he's ever done in a story, on a two-parter before, because he's just, I mean, look, Commissioner Gordon's desk is littered with them. Um, but earlier on in the episode, when they're at Barbara's apartment, Barbara solves a riddle, and Robin says, "Gosh, we should have thought of that." And I think we've seen in this story that Barbara has solved the majority of the riddles, whereas before it would have gone to Batman and Robin. In particular, it would have gone to Robin because we've seen Robin sort of solve the riddles quite easily in the past, but he does not. Boy, if anybody's been shortchanged by this new edition, it's Robin. I mean, granted, he can drive now and he gets to drive the Batmobile, but he doesn't do a lot else in the story, which other than utter, holy this, holy that.
Batman and Robin arrive at Commissioner Gordon's office just as the phone rings. It's the Riddler. Riddle me this, Batman. What is the chilliest 12 inches in the world? Answer, cold feet.
Whew, I was nervous about that one.
What suit of cards lays eggs? Answer, on on that is chicken-hearted. Batman states that sticks and stones may break my bones, but Riddler interrupts, stating that the phone line is plugged into radio station GTCR. That means all of Gotham City has just heard you called a coward. The Riddler hangs up the phone. Regardless of who Mushy Nebuchadnezzar may be or what Riddler is up to, regardless of public or private image, one thing that Batman cannot abide is being called a coward. Batman tells Commissioner Gordon that he can inform all the news media that he will meet the champion of the Southwestern Asia in Gotham Square Garden tomorrow.
Yeah, it's sort of weird this thing getting under Batman's skin like that. He says like he can't abide being called a coward if there's one thing that he can't stand. Like I'm like, that's kind of not like him to get like so riled up. But I mean, it works for the show, but I mean, for the story and moving it forward. But it felt kind of odd to me.
Yeah. Later that night, Batman and Robin arrive at the Gotham Square Garden. Batman is dressed in boxer shorts and gloves. Alfred is disguised as Batman's second. Alfred thinks that Batman should call him Gus. Holy missing relatives! Robin spots Aunt Harriet, who is sitting down behind Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, it's kind of a great moment. I love that Robin introduces her by saying "Holy missing relatives" because really, Aunt Harriet hasn't been quote unquote gone that much because she was. This is only episode 2, so but the fact that she's no longer in the beginning credits, and I don't know how. I mean, I'm sure people who are follow the show were aware that she was no longer. She pretty much had retired from acting due to her illness and whatnot. So she will have one more appearance during this season, and she'll be mentioned a few more times as a character. So, but it is good to see her here, and yeah, it is good to see her here, and everybody sort of acknowledge her in a way that's kind of cool.
In the audience, Mrs. Cooper tells Commissioner Gordon that she has been such a wanderer. She just got back from the New Hebrides this evening. When she got home, nobody was there, not even Alfred. She heard Batman was fighting and decided to check it out. She loves a good fight.
She loves a good fight, which is like, okay, she's packing heat and she loves a fight.
Well, we've
uh,
seen her hold her own before.
we have. Now, before we get started in the goings on next, we have Batman, and then we'll soon have Riddler in the ring. And this is a very, very strong image for me, not only because of this episode, but because in the 70s, in the late 70s, I think 78, 79, 80, somewhere in there was a live touring show that was put on, and it was called. It depends on like they sort of had different names. Bugs Bunny meets the superheroes, Bugs Bunny Sports Spectacular, Bugs Bunny, etc. And it starred Bugs Bunny and his crew, Daffy, Porky, etc., were part of were people in costumes. It was sort of like Ice Capades without ice. It was capades. Where they just would sing and dance and tell stories and whatnot. And but also this particular version of this show, this live show, also featured DC characters. So in addition to Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Sylvester, Tweety, Wile E. Coyote, Roadrunner, etc., you've also got Batman, Robin. You also have Wonder Woman, and then you have Joker, Riddler, Catwoman, and Penguin. And one of the stories is that I guess Porky Pig is going to his birthday party or something like that, and he gets kidnapped by the villains and has to be saved by Batman, Robin, and Wonder Woman. And those are the generalities of it. But one sequence in particular of this live show features Batman and the Riddler in a boxing ring, wearing boxing shorts and playing out a sequence much like what is in this episode. So I have to believe that this episode inspired that sequence and that was used. Now, I do remember as a kid, I saw that this ads for this live show was coming to Boston. And I begged, pleaded, and cried because I really wanted to see this show. It was Batman and Robin, and we did see it. Unfortunately, I have very, very little memory of a lot of things that happened when I was that young because I was only like 10 or 12, something like that, not even. Um, and I have no pictures or anything like that from it. Unfortunately, there is some evidence of the event of the show online. There's some images that I found, as well as some videos of the commercials that ran, particularly in New York. And those brought back a lot of memories to me when I watched those videos. Did you happen to see one of the videos are available on YouTube? Did you happen to see one of the videos that I sent you, Drew?
Yeah. Yep.
And did this seem familiar to you at all?
Nope.
But you saw the sequence where Batman fights the Riddler in the ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and how cool of it. Like if you had gotten wind at that age that, Indianapolis, you could have gone to an event to see Batman fight the Riddler in a ring, you would have done the same, right? You would have
Oh,
been
yeah.
like, I need to go to that, mom and dad, right? Like so yeah, it brought back a lot of memories in that way. I don't know if any of the other listeners or watchers, viewers, remember this show at all. But it was certainly a highlight for me. I wish I could remember more of it though, but I do remember certain aspects of it, but not enough to really it was great to have some stuff resources online and find some stuff out that really could jog my memory more because but all I do remember is that yes, that Batman and Riddler, that was the hook for me. When I saw the ad on TV, when I saw the ad in the newspaper, that was the hook for me, and that was enough. And I don't think I was disappointed, but I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Back in the ring, Batman realizes his opponent is Riddler. Batman thinks this is ridiculous. The Riddler is smaller than Robin. The referee tells Batman and Riddler that he wants a good, clean fight, and the opponents touch gloves. Riddler
I, sh-
asks
I
Bat.
should I should point out. Sorry, I should point out too that it's a little different here, but in the live show, Batman is not wearing boxing trunks. The Riddler is, and he's wearing his a green leotard suit, but he's got boxing trunks on top of that. But Batman is just in his Batman outfit. Here, Batman's got the boxing trunks on too, which kind of look fun as well. I was kind of surprised because the boxing trunks on the Riddler's reads Evergood, which is a parody of Everlast, which is, if you know anything about boxing trunks, they're one of the biggest manufacturers of sporting gear and boxing in particular. Everlast is, and I kind of thought Batman would have a bat symbol on his, but no, his say Evergood too. I froze frame it in red, and so I thought that was I was like, oh, it should have been like a bat symbol, but and oddly enough, you can actually, well, not oddly enough, but you can actually get Mego figures of these two in these outfits. They're not original Migos from the 70s. They are actually Migos that were produced much more recently where they did a lot of things that they weren't able to do back in the day. So if you love seeing Batman and Riddler, and you want to have Batman and Riddler in your own ring at home, you can get those Mego figures.
Riddler asks Batman, what eats crow, yells uncle, and tosses sponges? Batman answers, a loser, but he's not a loser. Riddler responds, oh?
So Batman during the phone call and this face to face, Batman is solving these riddles like right off the top of his head. So he's being able to show that he can do this as well. Like I said, we never get this with Robin in this episode, but really, we don't really see Robin much in this episode. Really, I mean, when you said that he's the second and Gus, aka Alfred, is the second, I'm like, Robin's there. And I'm like, oh yeah, he is there. But woo, he doesn't really do much here.
The bell rings and the fight begins. Riddler tries punching Batman twice and misses both times. The Riddler comes flying off the ropes and falls into Batman's glove. The Riddler stumbles to his corner. Riddler's henchman, KO, tells Riddler to spritz Batman with the metal filings in his glove. Betsy is under the ring with a magnet. The Riddler goes back out to the middle of the ring. He tells Batman to wait and starts waving his right boxing glove around like it is out of control. Suddenly, Riddler sucker punches Batman in the chest and metal filings fall to Batman's feet. Holy sudden incapacitation! Alfred comments that the drawing power of this fight seems to be concentrated beneath the ring. In the audience, Chief O'Hara cries, Mother McCree! Commissioner Gordon exclaims that Batman's feet seem to be magnetized to the canvas.
I guess O'Hara's memory is back.
Barbara excuses herself. She has something in her eye. Barbara rushes to the ladies' lounge and seconds later reemerges as Batgirl. Back in the ring, Batman is struggling to defend himself as Riddler dances around him punching. Suddenly, under the ring, a bat rope attaches to the handle of the magnet. Seconds later, it collapses. Betsy is surprised to see Batgirl and bolts. Batgirl chases after her. In the ring, the Riddler addresses the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, riddle me this. When is a prize fight like a beautiful lady? When it's a knockout. Riddler goes to punch Batman, but he is not there. The Riddler realizes something went wrong and bolts from the ring. The Riddler and his henchmen return to his hideout to find Betsy and Batgirl waiting for them. Batgirl swings down from her perch. Batman and Robin also come swinging in on ropes and a fight ensues. Even Gus joins in on the action. When the henchmen are defeated and Gus clubs Riddler on the back of the head, Batman asks Riddler if he has any final riddles. The Riddler asks, what do you throw away that keeps on returning? Batman answers, a boomerang. Riddler answers correct, and he's a boomerang, and he shall be back. But he's not,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
unfortunately. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Did you notice, and I think we pointed this out in the first episode as well, but in the fight sequences, the bam, boofs, oofs, whatever, like flash. And I'm like, man, these should have like warnings for seizures because, man, that's a lot of flashing that's going on there. I think it really looks really cool. It looks better than they did just flat from second season. But man, I was like, there should be a warning on here, I think. Um, I love the fight. I think it's cool. We don't really get to see one-on-one fights between the bad guy and Batman very often. I think, the fencing time we did, but it was so quick and it was over so quick that we didn't really get to enjoy it. This is kind of fun, although it does really feel like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, which is kind of funny that, they did the live show with Bugs Bunny meeting the superheroes and everything with this because because this really felt like, I mean, I've recently seen an episode of Looney Tunes, a Looney Tunes cartoon in which Bugs fights a prize fighter. And yeah, it's very similar to this. There's a great Charlie Chaplin short in which he fights a big guy as well. And this isn't a big guy, obviously. It's a little different, but it's fun to an extent. I wish it could have been choreographed better and everything like that. And I can nitpick it, but the idea is fun, and I appreciate the visual of it too.
Batman states that winds that up, fellow crime fighters. But Batgirl is gone again. Robin saw where she went this time, through that transom. Her Batgirl cycle is parked out in the back alley. Robin wants to follow her and find out who she really is. Bat Batman tells him, "No, old chum. Let's respect her disguise as she respects theirs." Alfred offers Robin a cup of camel grass juice. Robin is surprised that it tastes great. Batman warns
I
Robin
would
to
be
be
surprised too.
Batman warns Robin to be aware of strong stimulants. Back at police headquarters, Bonnie buzzes Commissioner Gordon to let him know that there is a Miss Lorelei Circe here to see him. The name doesn't ring a bell, but Commissioner Gordon tells Bonnie to send her in. He asks Ms. Circe what he can do for her. She tells Commissioner Gordon it's not what he can do for her, but what she can do for him that really counts. Circe is really the Siren and puts Commissioner Gordon under her spell. Will the Siren succeed? Will the Siren succeed in the plan she has for Batman and Commissioner Gordon? Will her purring perlay pay off? Watch for the stunning surprise on the next episode.
So, as you pointed out, and as we mentioned, this is Frank's last foray on the Batman 60 series, but he will return uh, as Riddler in a 1979 special called Legends of the Superheroes: The Challenge. West and Ward are appear as Batman and Robin in that as well, along with some other superheroes and bad guys as well. I do. It's been I think I've seen it, both of them, because there's two of them. I think I've seen it, but it's been so long, and they are not great. So, but fear not, viewer. We've got it on our list of things to check out. So we'll still see that. Also, Frank Gorshin, in his illustrious career after this, he also faced Wonder Woman in a second season episode called The Deadly Toys. He's in Return to the Batcave from 2003. He plays, I think, himself really, but that's kind of a wacky sort of reunion movie that, again, Drew and I have on our list of things to cover. And this is probably one of those things that a lot of people don't realize, but Frank Gorshin also voiced Hugo Strange in 3 episodes of the Batman cartoon from 2005. So, so Frank doesn't just give up playing, going the superhero realm after this. He does appear a few more times in things, and also he appears in other things too that are really great. I think one of the last things I saw him in his career was, I think he was on an episode of CSI that was directed by, I think it was directed by Quentin Tarantino, oddly enough. So that was great. He always puts in a good performance, even if the stuff he's in is not is not great sometimes. But it's great to see him back here, and I really appreciate this episode. For all those people that are saying, "Ooh, that third season is rough." I mean, yeah, it's not perfect, but so far this is the second episode of the season, and I still think it's a little different because it's fast paced, and I think they're taking some shortcuts. They're trying to get used to the format and everything like that. So I give them some grace, but yeah, it's interesting that they are also front loading the next episode with the villain who's going to be next. in these episodes. So there is some continuousness to it. Continuing? I don't know. Like there's it's still got a nice sort of not quite a cliffhanger, but it's got a continuity feel to it that it didn't have before.
And even though the episodes are fast, they're still fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this was really fun. And Batgirl so far has been a great addition. I think the like and two, I think story wise that character wise, I think Robin would feel kind of uh insecure about having another person be added to the Cape Crusaders. But especially one that it looked like was gonna be a love interest for Batman. He would be like, where do I fit in all that? And we've already seen him kind of tackle that question before, but yeah, so far his fears are playing out because we've already seen, I think, in some ways, Batgirl do some things that previously Robin would have been doing.
Yep. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. Speaking of our favorite Batgirl, Yvonne Craig. She, like I said, I think I've mentioned before that I did get a chance to meet her, which I am very honored by. And I met her at Dragon Con, and it was around 2000, somewhere in the early 2000s. I can't remember the exact year. Um, but she was promoting her book. She did write a bio called "From Ballet to the Batcave and Beyond," where she talks about her experiences on as playing Batgirl. She also talks about her experience playing the Orion slave girl in Star Trek and working with Elvis and Bill Bixby and numerous others as well. So, and her early career in ballet. So, if you want to know more about Yvonne Craig, and who doesn't, I definitely recommend checking out From Ballet to Batcave and Beyond. I think it's been out of print for a while. So if you go to like a place like Amazon, you will find that the price is really high because it's out of print. But don't fret if you try some secondhand places, you'll find it more reasonably priced, I think. Yeah. Recently, the Batman Museum posted a picture of a bookcase that they, I think, recently installed in their downstairs memorabilia collection, which has a bunch of books that are basically biographies written by cast members. There's one by Adam West, there's one by Burt Ward, there's one by Alan Napier, and then there's one by this one by Yvonne Craig. But there's also some of the villains wrote autobiographies, or there's biographies on them as well. The one that I just picked up and finished reading the other day, the one about Cesar Romero, that one was pictured in there on the shelf, as well as one from Burgess Meredith, one from Julie Newmar, and there was one I think from Eartha Kitt as well. So if you love these characters and these actors, and you want to find out more about them, there are books available, but you might have to hunt for some of them because some of them haven't been in print for quite some time.
All right. So you mentioned Bill Bixby, and I had to laugh because I just saw him recently because over the weekend I watched The Apple Dumpling Gang, which has Don Knotts and Tim Conway in it,
I love those guys.
and Bill Bixby. So I thought that was funny. But for my shout out, I'm going to shout out about the Birds of Prey. If you haven't read that comic book series, oh man, it's great. I started reading it when it premiered back in the 90s. So I've read that one, but they've even launched a newer version recently. I think it was in 2020, 2024, 2025, that still has Barbara Gordon and Black Canary in it, but also has Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, Barda, and some other characters in it. It's really good. We've been reviewing it on Earth Station DCU. So, yeah, it's It's been pretty good.
Yeah, there's a very good I don't yeah, there's been several good runs on that. When it started, I believe it was put together by Chuck Dixon, writing wise.
Yep.
And I have a lot of those early issues, as well as I think it was soon after that Gail Simone took over, and it was one of the first things she did for DC. And man, did she make an impact. Her run on that, which I think has recently been collected in an omnibus, is worth getting as well. That is probably the strongest run that I've read. But I'm curious to check out Kelly Thompson's run lately, her more recent run as well, because it's a great concept, great characters, and fun stuff. So I recommend it as well.
All right. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. Text us, leave us a message, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right, you ready to get out of here, Bat Chum?
Bat chums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Don't worry, the earplugs are yet to come because you're going to need them. That pitch is high.